Hi everyone, my name is Tamara Chambers, and this is Tamara Just Saw, just streamed, I guess. Today, I'm ranking all of the live-action Batman films from least to greatest, in my humble bat opinion. It's like, what else are you supposed to do during quarantine than revisit all of the live-action Batman films? I ask you, what? I have abysmal taste in film, I know this, and also, you, the commenters, know this. So, this isn't meant to be like, I'm right and everyone else is wrong. This is just my list of where I think all of the live-action Batmans lie. Feels really weird saying Batmans, but I'm gonna continue to do it. There's 8 in total. There's 2 Tim Burton, 2 Joel Schumacher, that one weird 1966 Adam West Batman, and then the 3 Christopher Nolan Batmans. Yeah, okay. I just changed my list. I panicked. Okay, so my least favorite of all of the Batmans is the 1966 Batman with Adam West. So, full disclosure, I had originally The Dark Knight Rises as my least favorite film, but objectively, it's just a better film than the 1966 Batman. The 1966 Batman, while wildly fun to watch, does feel more like an episode of a Batman TV show, which it ultimately was based off of. And so, in that, it doesn't really warrant the time it took to get through it. The villains feel very TV show and very less suited for a film. Also, the Joker is just really super weird. Catwoman's the only one that really makes sense. The Riddler's costume is Party City laughable, and the Penguin just doesn't even compare to the other iteration of the Penguin that we've seen in the Tim Burton version. At the time, I know that superhero films were just like not even on the radar, so I understand that this is just a product of its time. And again, I had a really good time watching it. The Bat Shark Repellent is classic. Overall, the Batman films that I really enjoy are the fun ones, and I think that's gonna be wildly unpopular for you guys watching it, because I really enjoy having a silly, goofy time watching Batman, and growing up with the comics, he's a very gritty, dark superhero, but also the people that he fights and the people of Gotham and this fantastical world that he lives in are silly. I overall like the silliness, but the 66 Batman just doesn't really work as a film, and so for that, it's my least favorite of the Batmans. But going straight into The Dark Knight Rises, it takes itself way too seriously. I just really don't care about the League of Shadows that much. I definitely didn't mind it in the first Christopher Nolan Batman Begins movie. Then they really didn't touch on it at all in the second one. And then in The Dark Knight Rises, it's just the whole thing. And there's a lot of like, who's the bad guy? Did Bane make it out of this cool like underground prison? No, it was this other woman that I can't even remember her freaking name because I just didn't care about her character at all. And I wanted to get back to Gotham and to the villains of Gotham and to Batman. It just wasn't my favorite. Not a bad movie by any means, but not my favorite. All right, going up the list of really bad takes by Tamara Chambers, my number 6 is Batman. The first Tim Burton movie with Jack Nicholson playing basically Jack Nicholson and kind of the Joker. Michael Keaton is a very close second in terms of my favorite Batman, right under Christian Bale. I think he's definitely the best out of the trio of Michael Keaton, George Clooney, and Huckleberry. Tombstone guy. I really like the fantastical world that Tim Burton creates, and also, in addition to that, Joel Schumacher creates. And in that, I really think that Michael Keaton does a great job of being the straight man. When we have these crazy, fantastical characters that he's going after, I just think that Jack Nicholson as the Joker kinda just doesn't do it for me. It just is a little lackluster. I don't know. I love Jack Nicholson. My fifth favorite is Batman Forever, Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever with Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey. I think that Val Kilmer is way overshadowed by Jim Carrey, which is weird because Val Kilmer is an incredible actor. I think he does a very incredible job in everything else he's been in. Jim Carrey is on fire in this movie. He is such a good Gotham villain. I really like Two-Face in this too, Harvey Dent, but everyone is overshadowed by Jim Carrey. It was super fun, super silly, a little too silly at times, but overall just had a freaking blast watching it. I know that this is gonna be a very unpopular opinion because also Batman and Robin hasn't yet been named, and we're already halfway through the list, so I don't think a lot of people are gonna agree with me on this, but I just really like how silly Joel Schumacher's get. I can now look at it as like a silly, fun, just like blast of a ride of Goofy versus like, gosh, can we just please get a good Batman film? Because we've gotten those now with the Christopher Nolan. So these are just so outrageously fun to watch. So with that being said, my number 4 is Batman and Robin. I just love it. It's just great. I think that Poison Ivy is amazing. The only thing that really didn't work for me, that I almost switched Batman and Robin with Batman Forever on this list, is because I just do not think that we need Batgirl in this movie. I don't think she's a good addition. I think that the whole storyline of trying to save Alfred from this disease, that we're gonna get the cure from Mr. Freeze, who I love. He's so silly and he's just so fucking cheesy. It's such a blast. She could have been completely taken out of the story and it would have been much better, in my opinion. But I cannot get over the villains in this movie. They're just so fun. I had such a fun time drinking White Claw, eating some popcorn, watching this movie in bed. It was a blast. It's so fun to revisit. If you haven't in years, like, just watch it and make fun of it. It's a blast and a half, man. It is so fun. My number 3 choice is Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan's first Batman film. Thought it was great. Like I said, The League of Shadows was a little overbearing in the third movie, but in this one, I didn't mind it as much. It was a cool shift of Batman's origin story, and it kind of like explained some things, and we got to know Bruce Wayne a bit more throughout that. I hate that they switch the actor of Rachel, but I do think that she's better in the second one. I'm not a huge fan of, I forget her name, Katie Holmes in the first. I just don't really care about that dynamic. I care about it a lot more with Rachel in the second. I love this movie. It's a very solid film. When it first came out, it was just like, just outstanding. It was 2008, right? I was in high school. I remember seeing it in theaters and just being blown away. It was kind of like a similar experience to going and seeing that first or that second Spider-Man movie, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. Like, it was just such a fun theater experience and was like, whoa, you really nailed this superhero movie. That's so exciting. Like, we haven't seen this before for this character. This was hard. The number 1 and the number 2 slots were hard. I like both of these for different reasons. But my number 2 spot is Batman Returns, the second Tim Burton film that has Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and it has Danny DeVito as the Penguin. And again, we have Michael Keaton as Batman. He just does a really good job. He connects with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman really well. Her origin story is so cool and creepy and, again, really fanciful and silly, but it just really works. And Penguin is so creepy, and he's not like in the comics where he's kind of like high society and he's very proper with his monocle. He's gross. He's so gross. And Danny DeVito does an excellent job playing this really over-the-top Penguin, and I absolutely adore him in this. I think the villains in this are top-notch. I really like the weird like clown brigade that we get, and his whole like underground aquatic zoo gang that we get. And I love that he runs for mayor, and I just, the whole thing is great. The last thing between Batman and Catwoman about how, like, you can be just like me, and then, like, she can't, and it's just so good. It's such a good movie. I love it so much. Catwoman's outfit is amazing, and I desperately need to cosplay as her one day. It's just visually an incredible film. All the sets are really great. Again, the music is phenomenal, and just, again, just so good. Just so good. Which of course means that The Dark Knight is my favorite Batman live action film. I know that this is not an original take, but Heath Ledger's Joker is just not even comparable. It's just not even comparable. I know there's a lot of other Batman live action films that I could have added in this, like Batman vs. Superman and like Suicide Squad and stuff like that we have, you know, Justice League, but I wanted to keep it just to Batman's. But I've seen all the iterations of live action Jokers, and by far and away, by a long shot, Heath Ledger's Joker is by far the best. I would even say it's my favorite after seeing the Joker movie, which I very much enjoyed, and I think that he's an incredible actor. But, Joaquin Phoenix, that's his name, but Heath Ledger's Joker in this world, in the Christopher Nolan Batman, is so good. It went from the Batman Begins really solid start to just next level. The first scene where they're taking over that bank, and it just starts off so strong, and it's so clear that they're not shooting on sets, they're shooting in like an actual city, an actual giant bank, and it just looks phenomenal. The storytelling is amazing. I really love Harvey Dent's character, and seeing him as Two-Face in the end is so exciting and cool. That actual explosion at the end where they kill Harvey Dent is amazing. Side note, that is definitely going to be one of the first cosplays I go back as when we can go back to conventions, because I still kind of think I want to be wearing masks in public for a bit. And that's a perfect cosplay. Like I just said, it was like Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises for me. And Dark Knight Rises was my 7th choice. So that means that all of the movies are just right in here for me. I enjoyed them all. They're all vastly different from each other. And in that, I think I got a lot of excitement and enjoyment from, because I was watching these every single night for the last 8 days, and it was nice to have a lot of different personalities and vibes and tones in this. So just because Dark Knight Rises and the 66 Batman and the original Tim Burton Batman are at the bottom of the list doesn't mean I didn't thoroughly enjoy those movies. They were just a bit different from the ones that I placed at the top. But overall, I had such a good time watching all of these. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next week. Bye! I'm Batman. Oh my god.